Hey everyone, welcome back to Weather on the Go. My name is Hunter on this Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. In this forecast, we have a severe weather risk mainly across the eastern U.S. over the next few days that will bring the potential for some stronger winds, some hail, and even an isolated tornado risk as well. Tropical update in between with a tropical system to watch for the East Coast. We're going to be diving into the key trends that we're watching in that and look at your long range update for the first 2 weeks of October, including the temperature and precipitation trends there as well. So if you have not already, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We do daily weather forecast breakdowns across North America, including Canada, the United States, and the tropics. Like the video and share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. It really helps out more than you know, folks. I definitely appreciate that. So let's look here at the frontal boundaries that are setting up across the eastern United States. Lots of low pressure along it, and that means some unsettled weather as far as rainfall, even a few thunderstorms concerned as well, including the risk for severe weather. So this afternoon, this evening, severe weather here is south of the Ohio River, down here into Kentucky, more so into middle and western Tennessee, extending down here toward the lower Mississippi Valley. So Alabama, parts of Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, and coastal and southern Texas. Keeping an eye on mainly a damaging wind and hail threat with that. You can see those storms starting to bubble up along that frontal boundary and just ahead of it as we go into later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. An isolated tornado cannot be ruled out, but again, it's mainly a damaging wind and a hail risk. Then as we go into the day on Thursday, September 25th, and you can see that severe weather risk extending all the way up to areas near the I-95 corridor, Boston, Providence, Hartford, New York City, all the way down through Philly, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C., including areas near Raleigh, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, all the way back into Mobile, Alabama. Could be potentially seeing some isolated severe weather there on Thursday. Notice again, the key word is isolated, as a lot of ours will be dry, but we could still see some showers and storms, and a few of those could be severe with, again, mainly a wind and hail threat. An isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. Now, once we get to the end of the week on Friday, September 26th, thunderstorms are unlikely across the central U.S. In fact, there's no severe weather threat across the U.S. on Friday. Any storms, you have to go to the desert Southwest or the Southeast coast to start to see any thunderstorms there by the end of the week. And again, very void of any storms across the U.S. by the end of this week. Rainfall amounts taking you through 7 a.m. on Saturday, September 27th, and you can see heaviest will be up here into the I-95 corridor, and we're talking coastal Maine, into New Hampshire here, into parts of Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and southern New York, even northern Jersey, where you see the purples and maroon reds. That's upwards of 2.5 inches worth of rain. All these blues that you see down here across the eastern Tennessee Valley and the southeast, that's at least a half to 3/4 of an inch of rain, so a nice drink of water there. A little bit drier, though, across the northern and northwestern U.S. going through the rest of the week. Rainfall could be heavy enough here today to produce some minor flooding across areas into the middle and eastern portions of Tennessee, including the Cumberland Plateau, up there into the eastern portions of the bluegrass state of Kentucky, and then into West Virginia. Just be keeping an eye on those creeks and streams and rivers as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours. Temperature trends going through this week. We're going to be seeing warmer air continuing across the north where the sunshine prevails. That's where the warmer air will be, where the clouds and rainfall prevail through the week. We're going to see a little bit cooler of trends further to the south and east you go as we go through the weekend. Now, turning to your tropical update, Major Hurricane Gabrielle is out of our hair. It's moving over there toward Europe. We have two areas of interest that have an 80 to 90% chance, respectively, of developing, including an area of interest all across the Bahamas and just off the southeast coast. And you can see both of those waves coming to fruition by the end of this week on Friday, September 26th. There's one wave here near the eastern Bahamas and north of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. And we also have another wave to the north of the Leeward Islands. Both of these are going to start to move westward with time and intensify as we get toward the weekend here. So for Sunday, September 28th, potentially already looking at a pretty strong hurricane there in the southeast coast area, and then wide variety of how fast the system gets and how strong it gets by the time we get to this time next week on Wednesday, October 1st. And you can see members as far west here as the Eastern Gulf and as far east here as the North Atlantic. So a lot of variability here as we get into next week. In the East Pacific, we have Hurricane Narda that continues to move westward. It's going to recurve, though, very slowly by the weekend and into early next week back toward the Baja, and this is going to spread some moisture up here, I do feel, across the southeast, or the southwest rather, here across southern portions of California, Nevada, into Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, southwestern Colorado, perhaps even as far east as West Texas as well. And these are areas that have been very dry, very drought-stricken here over the last few months, so that would be some good news to get some moisture. Your long-range update does show a large ridge of high pressure across Ontario and just south of the Hudson Bay as we get into the first week or so of October, and higher pressure is in the orange, lower pressure, or what we call a trough, is in the blue. And you can see that trough over here in the Northeast Pacific. That will give us some cooler weather across the immediate west coast as we go into the first week of October. But where that ridge axis is, we're going to see some warmer air really starting to spill over across the southern Canadian prairies and the northern U.S. So the northern plains, the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region as we go into the first week of October. Those areas underneath of that ridge, think of it as sinking air. We're going to have a lot of sunshine, and that sunshine will lead to drier weather here for eastern Canada, down across the Mississippi Valley, nosing into the southern plains. Tropical activity near the east coast could give us some well above normal precipitation, especially with any landfalling systems for the east coast of the United States here, potentially impacting the mid-Atlantic, the southeast, and then here that trough coming in across the Northeast Pacific could bring in some well above normal precipitation for the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast in general for the first week of October. Now we look at the strong winds. The Climate Prediction Center has a slight risk for some strong winds there on October 1st and 2nd across the mid-Atlantic coast. So areas near Trenton, into areas of Atlantic City, into Delaware there, and then all the way down into the Outer Banks. We could be seeing potentially some stronger winds from any systems that come to fruition with the tropics. Then as we go into the second week of October, we flatten out that ridge, it weakens, it moves a little bit further to the east. We got a trough that comes in, that strong trough. It's going to be on a weakening trend, but how weak does it get? It's going to possibly bring a cold front across the upper Midwest as we go into the second week of October. We've been talking about this for a while, and this will bring some much below normal temperatures though for Alaska into portions of Yukon and northwestern Canada. But you can see the moisture opportunities along and ahead of that front, mainly along and east of the Mississippi River, a little bit drier across the west, and then we're picking up with the moisture again across Canada into the second week of October. That would not be bad news at all, because we do need some moisture, not only just out west, but across the east too, into the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast at times. It's been very dry, so we need some moisture out here, and hopefully that front in the second week of October can provide some hefty moisture for areas that have been very dry for several weeks this fall season so far. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll have another video forecast out for you likely tomorrow. If not, we'll have one on Friday. Make sure to like the video and share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I will see you all in the next video.